I'm not usually a person that cries a lot with movies, media, or just anything like entertainment in general. I am a very sensitive person, but a lot of that content just doesn't make me bawl my eyes out. I can see like a movie like Marley and Me where the dog dies and then I get really sad, right? But I don't cry. Like I feel that pain and that sadness for a while and it goes away, right? I feel like for me to cry with an anime movie, what have you, it really has to do like a very strong impact on me. A lot of studios, like Pixar, for example, they wear this badge of honor of being very sentimental, emotional movies where the main characters, like, they went through tragedies, they lost family members, or just something sad happens overall, and they make you cry. I mean, take a look at Up or Inside Out, Coco, or Toy Story 3, the ending, for example. I've heard a lot of people say they cry their eyes out with so many of these movies, but I never felt anything. Like, it was like, oh, that's sad. But other than that, nothing. I didn't understand why so many people felt so sad when they watched this kind of content. Because for me, it really has to hit hard. And for me, that movie was Grave of the Fireflies. I really thought about between Marnie and The Grave of the Fireflies, like, even though both movies fucked me up. But Grave of the Fireflies, it made me cry a lot. It made me bawl my eyes out. It is one of the 5 anime contents, like series slash movie, that has made me bawl my eyes out. And I think that the reason why is because when I watched this movie for the first time as a teenager, I thought it was a very humbling experience. When I found out that this was a Ghibli movie, I raised an eyebrow and wondered if it was going to be good. I mean, it was one of the first ones that I saw, I do believe. So I wondered, what is this family-friendly studio going to make that's sad? I don't think they're gonna make something super sad. Man, was I wrong. This movie completely screwed me over emotionally. And I think it was also a very humbling experience because as a teen, when you hear stories about World War II, World War One, all that stuff, you hear everything about history rise, the US and the UK, and then Germany and all that stuff. And up until that point, I haven't heard too much about Japan's side of the story. Obviously, I know now about Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but at that point in particular, I didn't know much. And I said before, with the previous installments, that I don't like war stories. I don't like stories about war. But this isn't a war story to me. This is a movie about the tragedy that comes with war, if that makes sense. So it is different. It's not about the guns and the fighting and the violence and the explosions. It's not about any of that. It's about 2 children. 2 civilians, children, innocent, pure, who have no fault whatsoever what's going on and all of the suffering that they have to endure from bombardings from the US or the aftermath of the war. And it felt very humbling to me. I was able to put myself easily in the shoes of these children. I felt the simple joys that they felt over the easy and simple things like eating candy or just eating the juices that came from the leftover of that candy. I felt the sadness and the pain that they had to endure from infections and disease and death and all of that, and losing their mother, etc. And you see in the first 5 minutes of the movie that the main character dies. The main boy. You see him die. So it's not really a spoiler. But because of how the movie is portrayed, I feel like you kind of forget. I forgot. I mean, I saw these two innocent children and I really put myself in their shoes. Like, my God, what if that was me? And that's what made me relate to them and be humble about the whole experience. So you kind of forget because you're rooting for them the entire time. You're like, they're gonna make it, I know they will, but then they don't. And it was one of the most destructive experience I've ever had to witness, from watching a movie. It tore me apart. And this kind of story always impacts me deeply and strongly, and it's the kind of stories that I never forget. My favorite kinds of media have always this kind of stuff that impacts me deeply. I don't have a solution if this were to happen to me. Like, if war would ever happen in my life. This movie also has a very extreme conflict, very thought-provoking conversation subject of to what extent do I help, to what extent is it not okay to help, because these children, because they become orphans early on and they have to be with their aunt, right? And that woman is a monster. She's a fucking monster. Like, she's not like mean to the children in any like physical abuse, but she doesn't support them. She doesn't care for them. She's not loving. She's not caring, and they're just kids. She's constantly trying to tell them to like get work, get money, get something. Like, yeah, they have to earn the right to like be in that household. And that's not something any child should need to prove. Like, they're deserving of a roof and rice. And like, this is the aunt of these children, but she treats them like complete strangers, and I that's just so heartbreaking. Like, there is a scene where the little girl is like crying in the middle of the night because she's going through like a very tragic moment, but instead of being a mother and like a loving caretaker, the aunt is like, shut the fuck up to this child, this little girl. Like, when I think about it, it's just so fucked. It's so fucked. So yeah, this movie is like full of moments where doctors are like, there's another scene where the boy like wants to take his sister to the hospital, and the doctor say like she needs rest and good food, and the brother asks her, where do I get that? Where? How? Through war. They don't have access to those things. And there is another scene where they try to steal some vegetables from a farm, and the farmer like is like, who is in there, right? So people are just trying to survive. These adults can't afford to take care or help children because they're trying to survive themselves. I feel like the aunt was especially cruel because she was family, right? I kind of understand the situation of the doctor and the farmer so much, but it's, I don't know, it's just a movie I think about sometimes. It's just tragic, and to me, these kind of tragic stories are beautiful in a way, right? They're beautiful in the sense of like it's the pain and the things that make you feel are in a way beautiful, right? And yeah, even though it's sad, a movie, it's a tragedy. I love this movie. I love this movie. I think it's wonderful. And with all that, this is why Grave of the Fireflies is my second favorite Ghibli movie.